Hey everybody, it's Jeremy. Welcome back to EA Tetragrammaton, where we are playing This is turn 164. It's a big one. So, let's go ahead and jump into things. Alright. We've got 50,000 cloud trapezes throughout here, so we're not going to go through every single thing, but we'll go through like all the horror attacks and things like that. We have not a great ratio, but we were successful where it counted this turn. So, we get hit by some Soul Torns, lose a Gudu, get hit by some Horror Mantises, lose another Gudu. We get hit by some Float Cat Horrors and survive. Cool. Get hit by some more Float Cat Horrors and survive. Cool. Here's one of the big ones. We've got an Apkalu gets hit by some Spine Membranes and survives. Very, very good. A Gudu gets picked off by a Lesser Horror. We have a Lich go up against the Slave to Unreason, and he perishes. That's unfortunate. We have another Gudu get attacked by 10 Soul Torns. Definitely gets taken out there. Another Gudu gets attacked by 2 Spine Membranes and loses. Another Lich gets attacked by an Abomination of Desolation and loses. Another Gudu goes down to 4 Horror Mantises. Another Gudu goes down to a Horror. And then the second big one, another Apkalu gets hit by a Defiler of Dreams and lives. Also very important. And then we get another Gudu gets taken down by Spine Membrane Horrors. So our ratio on horrors this turn was we got 14 attacks. We survived 4 of the 14 attacks, but we survived with the important individuals, mainly the 2 Apkalus. So that was pretty big for us. And we have a couple of magic phase attacks. Lanka, who has a Grigory, I'm assuming charmed or enslaved this Grigory somehow, some way, attacks us in Sinkhole Swamp and actually bounces. So that's kind of interesting. We have a fair amount here that we kind of just threw in the assumption that, you know, we probably get hit. We got a bunch of Air Gudus, an Ishib, a couple of Liches, etc. There is a Vampire Lord here, so no big deal. But then the big one is Kokobel, right? He is outfitted with a Ring of Returning, so very unlikely that we would ever really kill him. But all we got to do is just basically breathe on him. We just gotta successfully hit him with something. The cast Time Stop goes into a buff cycle, Body Ethereal, Blessing, and then goes up into the air, comes down, and fortunately does not land in a good spot for him. Right, doesn't land directly on top of this Lich. Doesn't land directly in the middle of these Gudus, etc. And we just zap him with a Drain Life, and he goes bye-bye. So that other vampire just gets taken out by the Remnants. So that actually went really, really well for us, honestly. So very, very good. We get hit in Gladewood. You know, it's the Horror Harmonica Golem. We actually oh, it's not the Horror Harmonica Golem. Sorry, it is just a Soul Slay Golem. And I mean, this is a good concept, right? Because he's not going to lose anything, because as soon as he gets touched, he's out with the Ring of Returning. Honestly, these thugs are amazing. They're super, super efficient. So as soon as he's out, as soon as he gets hit, he's out, right? But, I mean, not even a but before he gets hit, right, he gets the opportunity to spam Soul Slay a couple times, and he's only going to target these Liches, right? So, just, really, really good, efficient thug for this type of scenario. And boom. And he's gone. Cool. So we lose that one. We get hit by another golem, Hinnom's golem, in the wetlands. So I'm getting, you know, I'm in full war with Lanka, but I'm also kind of getting nipped at the heels by Hinnom Steel and by Relay. I don't know if Hinnom is making any dodgy attacks here or there against Lanka, or if Relay's making any dodgy attacks against Lanka or anything like that. But it's definitely happening to me, so I'm definitely feeling that, like, oof, why's it gotta be me kind of like concept. Either way, it's just it's Soulslay versus Tart, and for whatever reason, I do not know why, but this Tartarian does not have Iron Will up yet. He has Iron Warriors, and I don't know if I just forgot to script this guy properly or what, but he just gets zapped. He just gets zapped. Sandals of the Crane are also very interesting. So, unfortunate loss there. And then we have some Air Goose take out a Vampire Lord. We got a bunch of big fights, or a bunch of fights, but obviously the big fight this turn is Grainport, so we will save that for later. We'll just flip through some of our fights. We get hit by a Vampire Lord in Droigar, win. We attack in the Womb, basic PD. Get hit in Norfangs, lose. Get hit in Halbathria and win versus a little stack that we have going on there. We lose Misty Bogs. We get hit in Barren Crags and lose. We get hit in Sinkhole Swamp and we win. So this is after the Gregory and Vampire Lord came in. Then we also got another Vampire Lord. We killed that one too. So very nice. We lose Cold Hollows. We attack into Sanafe and win, which is important. Sanafe is one of our retreating locations. We attack into Halamire, or we get hit in Halamire and lose. We get hit in Delufe and lose. We get hit in Alluvia with a little stack of undead and lose. We attack into White Forest and win. We attack into Chibia, again another relatively important place because I think this is our other escape route away from Sanafe, or away from Grainpoint. We get hit in Gaetia, lose. We get hit in Whispering Wastes, lose. We get hit in Neotha, and we win. We got a couple of Ishibs here that take out the Wraith Lord and the Lich, so that's good. We take over Belagor. We get hit in Terrace Peaks and lose. We get hit in Delca, and this one's an unfortunate one. So this one, he just keeps hammering, reinforcing Delca, and I keep expecting I've been really distracted in these last couple turns, in the future couple turns as well. I've had some like personal family business going on, but even aside from that, I've been distracted because my focus has been on things like Grainport and Jabal Kish, and trying to see if we can just end the game somehow. So I've been trying to put less and less into other things, and I'm just not committed enough to defending Delca, and this is us paying for it. So we just don't have nearly enough. Rigor Mortis does go up, but it's not going to matter for us. Natural Storm goes up, also not going to matter. Accepting that now we can't fly. But our Tart goes in. Now our Liches are going to get destroyed by these undead, whatever, right? But our Tart goes in, and he should be relatively good to go, right? He's got plenty of regeneration. He's got a Firebrand. He's got pretty astronomically high resistances and stuff like that. He's got 26 magic resist, but he actually gets starts to get kind of bodied as these liches are coming in range and just drain lifing the crap out of him. Like, really, the amount of drain life that they're doing is kind of crazy, right? Like, this guy's drained life like 8 or 9 or 10 times in a row. Like, it's kind of crazy. I wish my liches did that more consistently. Either way, we do kill a crap ton of units. So we are doing well, but we know how this ends. Eventually, the Cyclops goes down, and he doesn't quite kill enough things, I think, to really matter, right? He killed a lot, but this could have been one of those, like, finishing things out. I'm kind of, like, surprised at how he just didn't do that great. You know what I should have done? I should have had this guy set up for Rain of Stones. Alright, because he should have done Iron Will, Iron Skin, Temper Flesh, Summon Earth Power, and then he did Flight, which was just kind of like, whatever, who cares? But if he'd done Rain of Stones now, right, Rain of Stones could have potentially done a lot of damage over the course of time, and it could have potentially taken out some of these Vampire Lords and Liches. I forget about putting things up like Rain of Stones too much. Even if we didn't do something like that, just like Earthquaking probably could have been a pretty good idea comparatively. So that's my fault. That's just me not utilizing the Tartarian as I should have in that particular case. We get hit in Green Woods by Vampire Lord, lose. We get hit in Comsath by a small force of undead, lose. We get hit in Ghost Haven by a small force of vampires and lose. Get hit in Eterol by a small force of undead, lose. Get hit in Sitha by a small force of undead and lose. Black Alps, we get hit by a Vampire Lord. And we lose. We bounce, I guess? No, we win, sorry. He bounces. And that was a Vampire Lord from Hinnom. And then we get hit in Behemoth's Rest, and we lose. Alright, I forgot about some. Trying to manage my notes. Sorry. We lose Realm of Silence, and then we get hit in Andoria, but we've got 2 Gudus here that I think have Air Elementals. Yeah. So the Air Elementals actually make short work of these undead. There just weren't enough undead there. So, cool. Then we have a couple of unexpected events. Another population, another Black Plague on Agartha. We gain powers in Perenna. Gain some gems in Dwargar. Gain some unrest in Kunaral. And then we got the big fight in Grainport. So, let's see how this goes. So, we hit Grainport last turn with a bunch of Fiends of Darkness and some vampires and some Incies, right? But we didn't pop the fort in a single turn. And we gambled that obviously he was going to have to send a fair chunk of things to knock us off, right? But if he didn't commit enough, like a crazy overwhelming force, then us sending in a bunch of reinforcements could catch him off guard and potentially wipe out a whole bunch of units. And then the hope is that he won't have enough after losing these units to put together a better defensive force, right? To stop us this next turn. So let's see if we are successful in Grainport in defending ourselves. So, we have a pretty massive force here in Grainport. So does he, though. He has a pretty big force. But just off the top, we can see a lot of it is just chaff, right? A lot of it is just crappy long dead or corpse constructions. He does have a fair amount of storm demons here. And he did bring in a fair amount of mages. He's got multiple ice devils here. He's got multiple vampire lords here. He's got plenty of Raktapatas. He's got a golem here, etc. So he's got a fair amount going on, including Queen of Thunder. Is there just the one? Like it might just be the one. Oh, there's a Heliophagai here as well. Okay, let's just watch what happens. It looks to me like we have outmatched them, but it could still, we could win and it still be not a good win, right? We could just lose a whole bunch. So all of the buffs going up, Fog Warriors up, Storms up. We have our Army of Gold up. Crazy amount of fucking attacks coming from these Storm Demons on both sides, honestly. And it's kind of weird. Ooh. My Storm Demons are slightly better. Because they have the enchantment, the strength enchantment. So the rush of strength up. We have Mist of Deception up. Ooh, we also got Natural Storm from the Queen. Cool. The Light of the Northern Star going up. Anzus are in the air. Bunch of air elementals in his back line now already. Anzus come down and just begin to breathe everywhere. Anzus are terrifying when they've got all of these buffs up. When they've got the, Army of Lead up. When they've got regeneration. When they've got luck, Fog Warriors, etc., etc. These guys are kind of scary. Pick up the speed just a little bit. And we do seem to be pushing forward pretty well. Definitely looks like this is going to be a victory, but how much are we going to lose out of it? How much damage are we doing to ourselves? These Anzus are really cool, but they are somewhat of a double-edged sword, right? The water breath is not a resistible thing, so that definitely can hurt us. And flame breath is armor piercing and pretty high damage, and we don't have enough fire resistance to just survive it. So it can definitely mess us up. There we go. Yeah. Victory. We find a whole crap ton of items. We killed 631 units. And some of them pretty valuable units. A Golem, a Heliophagus, 2 Ice Devils. We did not get the Queen of Thunder, unfortunately. She did retreat. We got a Lich, 3 Raksharajas, 8 Raktapatas, a Tartarian Cyclops, 3 Vampire Lords, 2 Yoginis, bunch of Corpse Constructs, which is nice, and then mostly a lot of Long Dead, but decidedly a fair number of Storm Demons. Like, this is a lot of Blood Slaves going into these Storm Demons, just like ours, right? And we lost an Anzu, 15 Kidnids, 7 Storm Demons. That is a pretty overwhelming victory. That is a pretty big fucking victory. Holy shit. So, very big deal. Decidedly, though, potential issues is that we are low on gems. I think I might have misscripted. We're low on gems on some people. I think I might have misscripted on some of our Oogaloos, because we went through a shit ton of air gems. We do not have enough air gems to do all of the different things that we want to do. So we don't get to do things like Mist of Deception this time around. We are going to try to put up Storm and Fog Warriors with just a single Oogaloo, but it is unlikely that we're going to be able to do multiple instances. I just didn't send enough air gems. I should have. I'll tell you this, right? Like, I should have alchemized half of my death gems, half of my fire or water gems, right? Like, I should have alchemized a shit ton, and I should have brought in 3 or 4 times the number of air gems that I thought I was going to need. I absolutely should have. But as it is, this is what we are working with. So we'll do a quick check around the rest of the map. We're going to try to bounce people off of Alluvio. We've got some Liches and Ishibs heading there to try to defend that location. I think we'll probably be okay. We are sending some corpse constructs for chaff. But I think between the Liches that we have and the water elementals, we should probably be fine. We are going to try to bounce this army off of Delca. I do not feel confident about this, but we have a force of thralls coming in, and the intention is for this Enkidu shaman to army of lead them, just to try to give them some more survivability. We're also going to have water elementals out, a lot of water elementals out, and we have a vampire there to try to put in more chaff, 2 tarts going in, etc. I don't think that this is going to be super successful. And this is kind of one of those situations where I think we might be focused on something that doesn't matter, right? Like, I don't think Delca is that important. And I'm probably investing too much into it right now compared to paying attention to things like Javalkish and Sleepy Wolves. So, or Grainport, right? Otherwise, we're just counter-raiding in a number of areas, counter-raiding in Greenwoods, counter-raiding in Wood of Many Paths, counter-raiding over in Defaros, counter-raiding in Coast Haven, just trying to make sure that we can keep some of that pressure up. We are moving our forces away from Villia and into White Forest, to try to make sure that we are holding White Forest, Raphabolia, and Realm of Silence, so that we don't get snuck on while we are trying to sneak Grainport. And then let's talk about Grainport. So obviously Grainport is the big deal. We are storming the castle this turn with everything that we've got, all of the same tricks that we just used, etc., etc., but a little bit of extra added stuff. We are bringing in some more vampires with more Fiends of Darkness, just to try to reinforce things. We are hitting in a number of different areas around Grainport, again, to try to make sure that we have locations to retreat to, if at all possible. We're going to reinforce Sinafe, hopefully to defend that. We're going to hit Pazukus to try to open up an area there, and we are cloud trapezing a Tartarian Cyclops onto Ultima Typhia. And this guy is kitted out in such a way that he is going to do Rain of Stones. So we talked about this, right? This concept of like, maybe if we can get Rain of Stones up there, it'll be really good. He's gonna have Iron Will up, so that he will have 26 magic resistance, so that hopefully he doesn't get Control Undead. But you know, we'll see how it goes. He also has a Flesh Eater, so the design here is to try to not route, just stay berserk the entire time and let combination of Rain of Stones and other shit work. And the whole point here is to try to... We're sending him with... Probably should have sent him with more gems, because I have him on not conservative. So I should have sent him with like 10 gems, right? That way he could just use as much as he could, because the plan is to obviously hit Ultima Typhia's PD and then be there in case he tries to move these units from Ultima Typhia into attack in Grainport. Just trying to prevent his ability to reinforce Grainport. And then we're also reinforcing with some more Incies from Arcadis, carrying a bunch of gems, reinforcing from Ivanmore with an Enkidu Shaman with more gems, and a Vampire Lord with more Blood Slaves, etc. And yeah, that's the big shtick. If we win this, so what I'm expecting is I'm definitely expecting Magic Phase attacks, obviously. Magic Phase attacks from Lanka, but honestly, I'm kind of expecting Magic Phase attacks from Relay and from Hinnom. Because why not? We know they have the ability, right? We know Relay has the ability to Magic Phase us. We know Hinnom has the ability. They Magic Phased us this turn, right? So it's just the question is will the gem baits actually work? Will they not work? Will we be able to defend ourselves against an actual force? Because I don't expect much of a Magic Phase from Relay or Hinnom. I do expect a little bit of one, but not a big one. But I expect a pretty massive one from Lanka, because Lanka knows, you know, if I win here, then that's game. So I expect a pretty massive Magic Phase from Lanka, which, if we win, cool, great. But we have to win with enough to be able to defeat whatever is still inside Grainport. And I don't know that that there's anything left in Grainport. It could be that most of what this was from inside Grainport, you know? But there could also be there could be still 300, 400 units inside Grainport. So if we win outside of Grainport but then lose inside Grainport, it's still gonna be bad news bears. And we've committed a lot to this. We've committed a lot of our power, a lot of our Oogalus, a lot of our Umuap Kalus, a lot of our gems, etc. If we lose here, it's not immediately the end, but it's the beginning of the end, right? So what happens if we win here? Obviously the game's over, but if we lose here, the next few turns are hitting Javalkish, hitting Sleepy Wolds. We're probably going to have to wait a turn or two for gem income, right? Because we're going to have to send, you know, 600 gems with the force from Trackless Way, 600 gems with the force from etc. In order to hit both Javalkish and Sleepy Wolds. And we'll try to hit them probably not exactly simultaneously, but pretty close. So if we lose in Grainport, probably in the next 2 to 3 turns, we'll be marching on Javalkish, marching on Sleepy Wolds. Probably try to hit them with some Flames from the Sky and stuff like that to soften them up. But at this point, I assume that they have probably put up Arcane Domes themselves or similar, right? So we'll have to see how that goes. And he's just got so many undead. He's just got so many undead everywhere that yeah. I think, and I think I've thought this for a while, but I think Lanka wins. And I don't want to sound pessimistic in the concept when I say this, but I think Lanka wins entirely because, well, not entirely. I've talked about this previously. I think Lanka wins because of Astral Corruption. and because they have fatigued me out. I think I talked about this 5 or 6 turns ago, I think. I think we could win the game, or could have. I don't know about now. But I think we could have won the game just by slowly but surely taking forts, pushing our dominion, and eventually winning out. It would have taken 40, 50, 60 turns at a bare minimum, but I think we could have gotten there. I don't have the patience left to go through all that, though, which is why we're kind of taking this, well, look, we're going for it, and if we win, great. If we lose, great, right? But aside from that, right, I think that sans astral corruption, the economy that we could have, the forging economy that we could have, the summoning economy that we could have, I think sans astral corruption, we probably would be able to dominate, or 10 turns ago, we would have been able to dominate moving forward. And honestly, I probably could have done that period back during the Hinnom phase when astral corruption dropped off Hinnom and there was the 10, 15, 20 turn leeway or whatever it was that I had with it where I didn't have to deal with astral corruption. But if you think about it, out of the last almost 100 turns, probably 60 to 70 of those turns have been under the umbrella of astral corruption. I would have to actually go back and check when the first astral corruption went up, but between Miquelin's astral corruption, then Hinnom's astral corruption, then Lanka's astral corruption, I have just been ground down. And I honestly think without that spell, without having to deal with everything that goes into that spell, probably we would have just out-economied both money and summons and forging the rest of the game. That might not be correct, though, because obviously astral corruption still affects those players. Like, Lanka right now is still having issues moving around Raksharajas or things like that, right? It's not all rainbows and butterflies for them, but it is a better scenario for them than it is for me, generally speaking. They are deeper into blood than I am, or have been there for longer than I have been, have drained the majority of their lands to have a crazy high blood economy. We have a pretty good blood economy at this point, and we have pretty good blood efficiency thanks to the Shattered Throne. But I can't say with any confidence that we have anywhere the amount of blood, or anywhere the amount of blood economy per turn that Lanka has enjoyed over the course of the last 40 turns, that type of thing. But who knows? I could be wrong. Either way, I'm very excited to see how this turns out, because I think it's going to be a fun, interesting fight regardless. I thought the fight this turn was fun and interesting. But if we win or we lose, I think it's going to be fun. If we win or lose in Javokish, I think it's going to be fun. If we win or lose in Sleepy Wolves, I think it's going to be fun. But I'm trying to put a turn timer on this game. I would like to be done by turn 175, let's say, at the latest. Either because I have won. I'd like to be done next turn. Either because I have won, or because I have lost all of the major battles that I really have the ability to fight left. And at that point, I concede to Lanka. And again, like I've said, if Lanka wants to fight it out, we'll fight it out. But if not, then I think Lanka will have very deservedly won a big victory in this game. Anyways, that's going to be it for this turn. Cross your fingers for Grainport. Very excited to see how it goes. I've spent way too long culling through all of the different things, trying to piece together everything that's going to happen here. So we'll see how it goes. Fingers crossed. All right, anyways, that's it. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye, everybody.